Hi everybody, it's Tim Constantine from the Washington Times, joined as we are each and every week for America. It's David Bozell.
Hey Tim,
how are
you
you?
Good, I'm great. How are you?
I'm all right, but I'm irritated because lying has become the great sport in American politics. There's always been some level of deception or doublespeak or double talk. Nancy Pelosi's a great example where she talks about comparing the economic records of Donald Trump and Joe Biden. She completely ignores the last year of the COVID problem that Trump had and just says, well, at the end, his numbers were lower. He did not have job growth. He did not have economic growth. To me, that's political deception. It isn't a lie. She's telling the truth. The numbers are the numbers, but she's deceiving. What bothers me is right now the Trump team is being attacked over and over and over for things they did not say or did not do by the Biden presidential team. I'll give you an example. On the abortion issue, which Democrats have harnessed as a winner, but harnessed by distorting things, Donald Trump came out and said, that's a state-by-state issue. I don't think that the federal government should pass any sort of ban nationwide. That's a state, but that's the great thing about what the Supreme Court did is every state can decide on their own. 3 days later, the Biden administration came out and said, a Trump presidency means he will ban abortions nationwide. I mean, they literally said the exact opposite of what he had just said. And I've seen that on probably 3 or 4 issues where it's not a distortion, it is a complete lie. No one in the media seems to call them on it, they just report it. And then do you believe, A, that's effective, and B, that the American public buys into lie after lie after lie?
No, I don't. I don't think it's effective, and I don't think the American people buy it. I think the average American voter assumes and sort of has come to accept that all politicians lie. And all politicians lie for all sorts of reasons on all sorts of issues. And if they're going to spend their time dissecting one lie after the other, they're going to get really frustrated. And Biden lies to their face all the time. Trump's not he's not the best truth teller in the history of politics, right? Not everything he says was completely the 100% truth. So that's okay. I think we're not electing saints here, Tim. That's always been my attitude. Like, we're not electing saints, right? This is not beatification, right? We're trying to elect our leader for the next 4 years.
I remember when Newt Gingrich was briefly at the top of the polls in the 2012 primary season when conservatives were scrambling, looking for any alternative to Mitt Romney. And people kept complaining, saying, yes, but he's been married 3 times. I don't know, can we count on him? And I remember thinking, if my toilet is backed up and I need a plumber, I don't care if he's been married 3 times. I just want someone who actually knows how to work on the plumbing. And I thought, boy, if anybody knew how to balance the budget, for example, it was Newt Gingrich. And I'm not a huge Newt fan, but I thought the argument was so spurious. You know, it made no
Paul Ryan made this similar argument the other day where he declared he's never going to go vote for Trump. He won't vote for Biden, but he's going to write somebody in because if Trump has character issues. Okay, I mean, I get it. It's everyone's right to write whoever you want to be the president, but it's just tossing your vote away. And
Ryan told me he's voting for you, by the way.
I hope his closet is dust free. I mean, I just think it's a silly argument in the modern era, particularly the modern era, where everyone's record and personal business is dissected 1,000 different ways on social media. And the opinion you saw last is the opinion you're left with, and that opinion that you saw last may have any sense of the truth at all.
Along those lines, by the way, I think we have to now take Bobby Kennedy Jr.'s candidacy seriously because the major news outlets are digging up old stories about him that are completely meaningless. And yet I think they must think that he's gaining traction or they wouldn't do it. That there was a worm eating his brain 20 years ago or something, and They're talking about this in the New York Times and elsewhere, and I thought, oh my gosh, first of all, what does it have to do with anything that's going on right now? How about we talk about the economy with Bobby Kennedy?
Right. Well, the silly worm story was something 15 years ago in a divorce deposition. It has nothing to do with the campaign. But it goes to show you, though, how serious Biden and his campaign is taking the threat of RFK. They have a multi-million-dollar machine aided by their friends in the press to go after RFK and knock him down a peg or two or perhaps three that they need to. I mean, he's polling 15% in some places. If he's well over 5% in the swing states, Biden is in real trouble. And so kudos to their campaign for recognizing that they're going to have to play some dirty pool to get him out of there. But I just think that invigorates a potential RFK voter even further to see, oh, okay, so you're gonna dig into this man's divorce depositions 15 years ago for some private medical information that he's talked about, routinely, right? It's not news. It's not news at all. And then you're gonna stuff a story with anonymous quotes. That's how you can spot a fake news story. And I think most voters are discerning. There is going to be the low information voter that may be swayed by something like that. But 6 months out from the election, I don't think that's much of an impact.
Let's take the discussion full circle before we go. And that is, we started out by talking about lies and deception. And you pointed out that it's the world of politics. People have come to accept that people of all stripes, Republican, Democrat, Independent, they all tend to stretch the truth. What is an acceptable level of deception in the world of politics?
Well, I remember when George W. Bush went into Iraq, and there was a lot of ambiguousness as to why we were going, right? And Colin Powell's been sensitive. You could call that one a lie, maybe bad intelligence, but the fact that they were not able to find weapons of mass destruction, that was, you want to talk about like the scale of lies, right? Tens of thousands of U.S. servicemen and women go over there to what basically was a misadventure and lost their lives. And the country made Republicans and George W. Bush pay for it. And so I think that is sort of the apex, right? That's as much as we're willing to tolerate. I don't need to know every detail about why we send our men and women to faraway places, but I do need to know that the motivations are pure and truthful. And that Bush administration made a terrible mistake. Conversely, social stuff, Bill Clinton lying about having sex with Monica Lewinsky, the country was forgiving, and Clinton is largely regarded as one of the best presidents in the last 20th century. So they're forgiving of some of the social transgressions and personal transgressions, but they're not going to forgive people who lie to put our armed forces in harm's way.
Dave Bozell's a lot like Superman. He is seeking truth, justice, and the American way. For America.
But not saints.
I'm Tim Constantine from the Washington Times. Thanks for joining us.